It was quiet. Just me, my notebook, and a dream. I wanted to speak English, but I had no teacher, no classroom, no partner. Only one question in my mind. Can I learn English at home, alone? Some people say you need a school. Some say you need to go abroad. Others say you need talent. But what if they are all wrong? What if you don't need more resources? You just need a better way. In this video, I will show you how I learned English at home. I will show you my real story. I will show you how I started with nothing. But I kept going, and you can too. If you are tired, confused, or afraid to start, this video is for you. Let's begin. Chapter 1. I talked to myself. Many people want to speak English, but they don't have anyone to talk to. No friends, no teacher, no native speaker. So they wait. But waiting changes nothing. If you never speak, you never improve. You feel stuck. Your English stays inside your head. Your mouth is silent. Your confidence becomes smaller every day. Every time you want to speak, but feel shy, afraid, or alone. You want to say something, but nothing comes out. That's what happened to me. So I found a way. I talked to myself every day, anywhere. I started with one sentence. I looked in the mirror. I said, "Hello, how are you?" And I answered, "I'm fine, thank you." "And you?" I smiled. I laughed. It felt strange, but it felt good. Then I walked around my room. I said, "This is a table." I opened the window. No grammar, no perfect words, just simple, clear English. I talked while brushing my teeth, while cooking, while walking. I made English part of my daily life. And little by little, my fear became smaller. My voice became stronger. I didn't need anyone else. I became my own teacher. But I had one big problem left. I could speak, yes, but I didn't know how native English sounded. My mouth worked, but my ears were not trained. So I asked myself, can I learn English just by listening? Let's find out. Chapter 2. I listened like a child. I woke up the next day with a question. How do babies learn a language? They don't read books. They don't study grammar. Yes, they just listen. They listen every day. To their parents, to songs, to people around them. They don't understand every word, but they still listen. And slowly, they speak. So I decided to do the same. I would learn English like a child. I would listen every day, not to study, not to pass a test, but to train my ears, to feel the sounds, to understand the music of English. I searched for easy English podcasts. I found one called Slow English Stories. The speaker talked slowly and clearly. I listened to the first story. It was about a girl who went to the market. The story was simple, but it made me smile. I understood most of it. I felt proud. Then I found another podcast. It was just 5 minutes long. The speaker talked about daily life, breakfast, taking the bus, going to work. I listened carefully, and sometimes I repeated one short sentence after him. I didn't try to remember. I didn't pause the audio. I just let the words enter my ears. Later, I went to YouTube. I searched for easy English conversations. I watched a video where two people said, "Hello, how are you?" "I'm fine, thank you. And you?" I already knew these words, but this time I heard them differently. I paused the video. I repeated the sentence, again and again. That day, I learned a new way to listen. I didn't listen for fun. I listened to grow. I listened with focus. I listened to the copy. I listened to feel the rhythm. I made a small plan. In the morning, while cooking breakfast, I listened to English audio. While cutting vegetables, I listened. While boiling water, I listened. My hands were busy, but my ears were learning. When I cleaned my room, I played another story. I listened to how people said things, how their voice went up and down, which words did they stress. Later, I went for a walk. I wore my headphones. I played a short English story. I listened 3 times. Each time, I understood more. Each time, my ears got stronger. At night, before sleep, I played one last story, a bedtime story in English. I closed my eyes and listened. I didn't understand every word, but the voice was calm. The words were soft. My brain listened. My heart listened. I started to fall asleep with English in my ears, and slowly something amazing happened. English became part of my world. I started to think in English. Even when there was no audio, I heard English in my head, and it all began by listening, like a child. But listening was only the beginning. I wanted more. I wanted to speak better, faster, more natural. So I found a new way to train my mouth. Let me tell you how. Chapter 3. Shadowing changed everything. One evening, I sat in my room. I was listening to a story in English. The voice was slow, clear, beautiful. The speaker said, "My name is Emily. I live in New York." I paused the audio. I repeated the sentence. "My name is Emily. I live in New York." I listened again. Then I spoke again. I tried to say it the same way. That was the first time I did shadowing. I didn't know the word before, but I saw it in a YouTube video. Shadowing means repeating after a native speaker. You hear a sentence. You say it right after. You copy the sound. You copy the tone. You copy the rhythm. Like a shadow that follows someone. That's why it's called shadowing. At first, I felt nervous. I was afraid I would sound strange. I thought, what if I say it wrong? But then I remembered, no one is watching. I am at home. I am safe here. I found a short clip, only 1 minute. The speaker talked about her day. She said, "I wake up at 7 a.m. I paused. I repeated, "I wake up at 7 a.m. Then she said, "I drink coffee in the kitchen." I paused. I repeated, "I drink coffee in the kitchen." I said it again and again. My voice felt slow, but each time it got smoother. I stopped feeling nervous. I started to enjoy it. It felt like music practice. Not fast, just clear. Shadowing helped me in 3 ways. First, it improved my pronunciation. Second, it made me speak without thinking. Third, it made my mouth feel free. So I made a small plan, 10 minutes a day. That's all. First, I listen. Then, I read the subtitle. Then, I pause and repeat, line by line, step by step. Some sentences were hard. I forgot some words. I made mistakes. But I didn't stop. I went back. I tried again. I spoke louder. I spoke clearly. I spoke with feeling. After a few days, I heard the change. My words were faster. My voice was smoother. I didn't pause as much. I felt more confident. I learned how real English sounds. Not textbook English, but real-life English. I learned how people link words, how they stress words, where their voice goes up, where does it go down. And the best part? I didn't need a teacher, just a phone, some headphones, and a little time. Sometimes I shadowed in the morning, sometimes in the evening. Even during a walk, I whispered the words. Shadowing became my private class. It was free. It was powerful. It worked. You don't need to speak with someone to practice speaking. You shadow. You can copy. You can improve your ears, your mouth, and your brain. Shadowing changed everything for me. But I didn't stop there. I wanted to go deeper, to understand more words, to see English with my eyes, to feel it with my voice. So next, I picked up a story and I started to read aloud. Let me tell you what happened next. Chapter 4. Reading out loud made me stronger. It was a rainy afternoon. I sat near the window with a hot cup of tea. The world outside was gray, but inside, I felt calm. I remembered something my old teacher said. Reading is the secret to fast learning. So I searched for a short story. I typed, "Easy English Story for Beginners." I found one called A Day in the Park. The first sentence was simple. Tom wakes up. He eats breakfast. He goes to the park. I knew almost all the words, so I tried something new. I read the story out loud, slowly, clearly, with feeling. I finished the story in 5 minutes. Then I read it again. This time, I understood more. The third time, I read faster. My voice was smoother. My eyes moved quicker. I smiled. Something had changed. I didn't just read the words. I saw the park. I saw Tom. I felt the story. That day, I made a decision. I would read every day. Not long books. Not hard texts. Just short, simple English. 10 or 15 minutes a day. No stress. No pressure. Just reading with joy. The next day, I read a story about a girl and her cat. Then, one of the two friends went shopping. All the words were easy, but the stories felt real. I felt connected. And something amazing started to happen. I saw the same words again and again. Like walk. He walks to school. She walks to the shop. They walk together. I didn't write it down. I didn't memorize it. I just saw it again and again. And my brain remembered it. That is the power of reading. You don't just learn words. You learn how they are used. You learn full sentences. You feel what sounds right. Sometimes I found a word I didn't know. I checked the dictionary. I read the meaning. Then I returned to the sentence. Now I understood, but I didn't stop to write it. I didn't make lists. I just moved forward. If I saw that word again tomorrow, my brain would be ready. I also read in front of the mirror. I watched my mouth move. I listened to my voice. I didn't care about mistakes. This was not a test. It's practice. And soon, I noticed something. When I read more, I spoke better. My words came faster. My sentences were smoother. I didn't translate. I thought in English. I started to enjoy stories like little movies in my head. I understood more. I guessed the meaning of new words. I felt more fluent. And now, reading is part of my day. In the morning, I read a short story. In the evening, I read a longer one. Sometimes, I read the same story again and again. It helps me remember. It makes me stronger. So if you want to improve your English, start reading out loud, with your voice, with your heart, with your eyes. But reading was not enough. I wanted to go one step further. I wanted to speak with more emotion, with better rhythm, with more confidence. So I tried something simple, something powerful. I started talking to myself. Let me show you how it helped me speak without fear. Chapter 5. I spoke without fear. It was a sunny afternoon. I sat by the window with a notebook in my hand. The room was quiet, but my mind was full of thoughts. I wanted to speak English, but there was no one to talk to. No friend, no teacher, no class. So I spoke to myself, and out loud, in English. At first, it felt strange. I said, "Hello, how are you?" Then I answered, "I'm fine, thank you. And you?" I laughed. It felt silly, but it also felt good. I was not waiting for the perfect time. I was not waiting for the perfect partner. I just spoke. I walked around the room, and I described what I did. I said, I opened the door. I closed the window. I take a pen. I sit on the chair. These were small sentences, but they were powerful. They helped me practice every day. They made English part of my actions. Later, I stood in front of the mirror. I looked at myself and talked. I asked questions. I gave answers. I said, "Today, I woke up early. I made tea. I cleaned the room. I watched a video." It felt like I was talking to a friend. But that friend was me. When I walked outside, I continued in my mind. I saw a dog and said, "The dog is running." I saw a man and said, "He is going to the shop." I looked at the sky and said, "The clouds are beautiful." My inner voice started changing. I started thinking in English. This is how I trained myself. Not with books, not with big lessons, but with small daily speech. At first, I made many mistakes. I forgot words. I mixed sentences. But I didn't stop. I corrected myself. I've smiled. I moved on. The goal was not to be perfect. The goal was to keep speaking. Each day, I imagined something new. I pretended I was in a restaurant. "Hello, I'd like a cup of coffee, please." I pretended I was at the airport. "Excuse me, where is gate 5? Sometimes I played both roles. I created full conversations. And slowly, something changed inside me. I spoke faster. My sentences came more naturally. I didn't translate. I just spoke. One day, while cooking, I said, "I cut the onion." I add salt. I stir the soup. And suddenly, I realized something. I was speaking without fear. I didn't plan it. It just happened. That's the power of self-talk. It's simple. It's private, but it's strong. You can speak in the morning. You can speak at night. You can speak while walking or cooking. The more you talk to yourself, the less afraid you are to talk to others. And one day, your English will feel like a part of you. But there was something else that helped me. Technology, not games, not social media, but smart tools used the right way. Let me show you how my phone became my teacher. Chapter 6. I used my phone as a teacher. It was night. I sat on my bed with my phone in my hand. I looked at the screen and asked, "Can this phone help me learn English?" I opened the settings. Everything was in my language. So I changed it. I switched everything to English. Now, each time I unlocked my phone, I saw English words. It felt new. It felt strange, but also exciting. I told myself, if I use this phone every day, it must speak English to me. The next day, I searched for English learning apps. I found one with pictures and sounds. It said, apple, chair, window. I clicked the pictures. The voice said the word. I repeated it. I smiled. It was easy, fun. Then I tried another app. It helped me speak full sentences. Say this sentence. "I'm going to school." I spoke. The app gave me a green check. I felt proud. I also used YouTube. I searched for easy English listening. I watched short videos about daily routines. The man said, "I wake up, I brush my teeth, I eat breakfast." I repeated each line. I paused the video. I copied his voice. I watched the same video again the next day. This time, I understood more. Then I found something powerful, voice typing. I opened the Notes app. I spoke into the phone. "Hello, my name is Anna. I like to read books." The phone typed my words. If the words were wrong, I knew my pronunciation was not clear. So I tried again, and slowly my voice became stronger. I also used a dictionary app. When I read a new word, I typed it. I read the meaning. I saw an example sentence. Sometimes I used Google Translate, but only when I was really stuck. I didn't rely on it. I used it as a helper, not a teacher. I also listened to English music with subtitles. I read the lyrics. I sang along. It helped my rhythm. It made learning fun. Sometimes I watched movies with English subtitles. First, I watched with subtitles on. Then I turned them off. Then I watched again with subtitles. Each time, I understood more. Each time, I felt stronger. One day, I asked my phone, "What is the weather today?" It answered in English. I asked, "What time is it in London?" It replied again. I realized something. I was speaking real English to a real machine. I was using English for real life. Technology is everywhere. But if you use it with purpose, it becomes your classroom, your personal school. You don't need to pay. You don't need a big course. You just need a phone, internet, and a plan. Learn one thing each day. Say one sentence. Watch one video. Let your phone become your teacher. But even with all this technology, I knew something else was missing. A system, a daily rhythm, a way to make English a part of my life. So I did something simple. I created habits, small ones, and they changed everything. Let me show you. Chapter 7. I built English habits at home. It was early morning. I was still in bed. The house was quiet. I picked up my phone and opened a short English story. I read one paragraph. Then I said it out loud. This became my new morning habit. Just 5 minutes. But it changed how my day started. I learned something important. You don't need to study for hours. You don't need to finish a whole book. You just need habits. Small, daily habits. If you repeat a small action every day, it becomes a part of you. You don't have to think. You just do it, like brushing your teeth, like eating breakfast. Now, I do the same with English. After I brush my teeth, I talk to myself in English. I look in the mirror and say, "Good morning. Today is a beautiful day. I will make tea. I will study. I will grow." These are simple sentences, but they wake up my English brain. When I cook breakfast, I listen to an English podcast. I don't stop to repeat. I just listen. My ears enjoy the sound. My brain relaxes and learns. Soon, it became automatic. Every time I enter the kitchen, my mind says, "Let's listen." In the afternoon, I go for a short walk. While walking, I describe what I see in English. The red car is moving. A man is talking on the phone. The sky is clear. These thoughts are short, but they help me practice every day. At night, I made another fun habit. After dinner, I watch a short English video. Sometimes it's a cartoon. Sometimes it's a slow conversation. I watch with subtitles. I shadow some lines. It feels like watching TV, but in English. I also keep a notebook. I don't write many words, just 1 or 2 each day. I write them, I read them, and I try to use them. Over time, the words stay in my mind, without pressure, without stress. I also labeled things in my room. I wrote mirror, door, lamp, and window on small papers and stuck them on the objects. Every time I saw them, I said the word. 1 second. One word, but powerful. On weekends, I talked to myself about my week. This week, I worked hard. I read 3 stories. I watched 4 videos. I learned 5 new words. I said it slowly, but I said it with pride. Sometimes I felt tired. I didn't want to practice. But my habits reminded me. Just do one small thing. Just 5 minutes. And when I did, I felt better. I felt strong again. Habits help you grow, even when you feel weak. They carry you forward. They make English part of your real life. Don't try to do everything in one day. Don't force yourself to study for hours. Make a small routine. 5 minutes in the morning. A short video in the evening. 1 story a day. Think in English while walking. Talk to yourself before bed. Start with one habit, then add another. Slowly, your life will change. English will not be just a subject. It will be your companion. But even with habits, some days are still hard. You feel slow. You feel tired. You feel like giving up. That's when I learned the final secret. Learning never stops, and home is the best place to keep going. Let me share what I discovered. Chapter 8. Learning never stops at home. It was late at night. The lights were off. I lay in bed, thinking about my day. I smiled. Today, I read one story. I watched a video. I spoke to myself in the mirror. I learned one new word. It was not a big day, but it was a good day. A day of learning. A day of growing. I remembered a time when I thought this was impossible. I believed I needed a classroom, a teacher, a perfect plan. But I was wrong. I learned something true. Learning never stops at home. In fact, home is where it begins. In the last few weeks, I made real progress. My pronunciation is better. My sentences are smoother. I understand more when I listen. I feel more relaxed when I speak. And I did it all, alone, at home. How? By being regular. By doing one small thing each day. By using what I already had, my phone, my time, my energy, my dream. Some days were hard. I was busy. I felt tired. I moved slowly, but I didn't stop. I told myself, just 5 minutes. And I did it. And slowly, those 5 minutes became a habit. And that habit changed everything. At home, I am a student. And also the teacher. I decide what to learn. I decide how to learn. I decide when to learn. That gives me power. That gives me freedom. I keep a small notebook. I write a few words each night. I don't force myself to remember. I just read, and I trust my mind. Sometimes, I record my voice. I talk about my day. Then I listen. I hear my mistakes. I hear my progress. I hear my courage. I still do shadowing. I still read aloud. I still watch simple videos. I still talk to myself. I still think in English. When I walk, cook, or rest. Every small action becomes English practice. And the best part is, I don't need anyone to watch me. I don't need to pass a test. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to continue. That's how learning works. It never ends. It only grows. Learning English is not about speed. It's about the journey. A quiet, beautiful journey. Full of small victories. Full of new habits. Full of small steps that lead to big change. So if you're learning English at home, don't worry if you're slow. Don't worry if you make mistakes. Just keep going. Read a little. Listen a little. Speak a little. Think a little. Do it every day. Trust your journey. Your home is your school. Your phone is your tool. Your voice is your power. Your dream is your light. You are not alone. I was there too. I started with fear. I started in silence. But I took one step, then another. And slowly, I found my way. And you will too. So, if this video helped you, leave a comment and tell me one habit you will start today. One small step. That's all it takes. Let's grow together. Let's learn together. And remember, you can speak English. You can learn at home. And I am here with you every step of the way.